everybody. Welcome to the Moms on Your Feed podcast. I'm Corissia,
And I'm Whitney.
and we are both moms, and we both have different perspectives on things. So we're going to share a couple of things with you today, and we hope you enjoy this podcast episode. We're going to start with a couple of segments. The first segment is going to be Moms on Your Feed, and one person whose social media feed we were on this week was Carmen Veal on Instagram. So she films herself doing her daughter's hair every day, in the mirror, getting her ready for school.
That's so nice.
This is absolutely true.
Yeah.
What you can continue to do is just continue to be a kind person and hopefully inspire other people to be kind too, or at least just show more kindness. And don't worry about people who aren't nice, because unfortunately they can bring you down.
Yeah, bring you down to the small. Maybe I should not be sad at school so you don't be so a little sad
No.
at work.
Mama, I'm not responsible for mommy's feelings, okay?
Yeah.
Just your own. It's nice for you to be concerned about my feelings. I really appreciate that.
But I am.
I feel like that was a great response. Sometimes as parents, I guess we don't realize our children, they have feelings, they see things happening to us, and they are affected, and they do think about how we feel, just like we think about how they feel, and they want to protect us, but that's not their job. And so I thought it was good of her to remind her daughter that it's not your job to, you're not responsible for my feelings. And I think that's a message that all of us should give to our children. What do you think, Whitney?
You know, I'm always torn because I do think kids have a natural, like they have a natural ability within themselves, and I think that a lot of the stuff that we learn in going into adulthood is things that we need to really unlearn. And even that whole like concept, like you're not my responsibility. My happiness is not your responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel like, what if we all walked around and other people's happiness was our responsibility? I feel like we would just have a better world. Unfortunately, we're in a society where people can take advantage of it. So I understand from a mom's perspective why she would say, like, look, I don't want you to be walking around trying to people please and make everybody else happy.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a sense of, I don't know, like purity in her feeling the way she felt. And it was like her genuine feeling and her genuine desire. And
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy because one thing that I always pray about with Riley is I don't want to take anything out of her that God put in her.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be some things that your children are going to like do and say, or things that maybe wouldn't be something that would come out your mouth or something that you resonate with, but maybe that's something that God put in them for
Mm-hmm.
their calling, their mission, their purpose in life. And I want to be careful that I'm not taking. I had a lady tell me one time, I'm not raising my daughter from trauma. So I'm taking my trauma, and because I was taken advantage of, oh, you would not be a people pleaser. You would
Right.
not do this. And it's like, wait, that's your issue. That has nothing to do with this little one. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that, I don't know, I think it was innocent. And I feel like that was a very, for me, heavy conversation to have with your child when it was something so innocent she was saying. But I get where mom's coming from. So it's no like bash, like she shouldn't have
Yeah.
did that. But it's definitely just a different perspective. Like I personally feel like that was a beautiful place her daughter was coming from,
Mm-hmm.
and we will be in a better society if everyone thought that way. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's cool. I like how they ended the conversation also about they can both try to be happier and brave together. I thought that was cool too. And her daughter always has her um I don't know, she seems like a positive little girl, and I'm sure all of our kids have their moments of positivity and rambunctiousness, cuteness. We're just catching that little glimpse of it. So I did want to clap that lady up, Carmen. I thought she does really well in trying to connect with her daughter.
How do you feel about like the whole doing hair? Like that was one thing that pleasantly surprised. I don't know if I told you that before, but I love doing my daughter hair. Like it's such an intimate moment
Mhm.
between like me and her, and like the world is there, but like it's just about me and her. You can't be on your phone while you're doing hair.
Yeah,
You can't
absolutely.
be thinking about, like it's really like just you focus on her and y'all talking. I just That's like the one surprise that I had in being a girl mom or just motherhood in general.
Mhm.
And we both have backgrounds in doing hair, so I'm not
Mhm.
sure if it's that too, but I don't know. That is so for me. It's so intimate. It's so intimate. And as crazy as she acts sometimes, like sometimes she's great with getting her hair combed. She's
Mhm.
3, so sometimes she's great and sometimes she's not. But for the most part, I love that time. So I did like watching her do her daughter hair because I know like where it takes me when I do my daughter
Mhm.
hair. So I don't know if if you have a similar feeling when you do your daughter's hair, or maybe had because she's older
Yeah,
now.
you know what? I think that I use it as a time to, I'm not using it as a connection time. I will put on the television and we sit
Okay.
out and we sit in front of the TV, putting something on and kind of do her hair while I'm doing that. I do, I think because now it's been a process of me learning what products work on Aubrey's hair, that now I'm at a spot where, okay, I know what's going to work, what products I like on her hair for her to wear it natural. And so that part I'm enjoying now. And I like that she's embracing that part of her hair in herself. She's no longer, I mean, sometimes she wants it straight, but she's no longer like, can I get it flat ironed?
Yeah.
She likes to
And,
wear it.
and it's not a mystery every time. Like, what's gonna happen?
Right, exactly. Now I know, what to
Good
expect.
luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like that. So I like seeing her embrace that side,
Mhm.
because we can wear our hair any way we want to wear it. But I like that she's kind of embracing her curl pattern because it's a little different from mine. And so I do enjoy that part. And I like to be I'm not gonna say, yeah, I guess I like to be the one to do it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to know that I know what to do with her hair, you know.
Hmm.
And I'm hoping that she learns what to do with her hair. So I'm finally starting to let her say brush your hair up or something, and she'll get the jam. And because that whole concept of brushing it up, like that's a skill in itself. Kids could like they'll take.
That's Riley right now. Riley is like in the like she's in her like discovering like combing her.
Mm.
Like yesterday, I came home and she had like one barrette, like right here, was not no twist or anything. It was just one barrette, and it's like, oh Lord. But I totally get where you come from with the whole embracing the curls.
Yeah.
That was one thing that I was kind of like a little when we went to visit preschools for Riley, and I was like looking at the girls in her class, like I'm looking at their hair because I don't want her to be the only one with like natural kinky curly hair,
Hmm.
and everybody got this long blonde
Yeah.
ponytail and
Yeah.
flying in the wind,
Right.
So I never want her to feel like it's not good enough, but she loves her Afro puff. She loves it. Like she's
Yeah.
like, it's so big.
Right. The Aubrey still wants that. She still wants big
Yeah,
puffs. She was like, I want to
yeah,
be bigger, big. I'm like, okay, that's cool. But I never
yeah.
wanted her, when you say, the flowing hair, I never wanted her to be the girl that when she bend down, her hair just stick up. You remember them the hair just stick up because it's so stiff and it's just like,
Yeah.
and
It's
with
no movement.
no movement, and with her natural hair, I just try to make sure that if it's going to be natural and curly, it can at least kind of sit
Ball.
down, fall down a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, but girl, yeah. All right, so let's move on. There was another mom who was teaching her child a lesson in listening and being obedient. uh,
You should have got in the car when I told you to. How many times did I tell you to get in the car? Go get in your seat right now.
Okay, so I'll run through it really quickly. All we saw was a clip, and I come to find out this was on somebody's page. It wasn't even this mom's page. I wish I knew so I could give her a shout out. Do you think that is a good object lesson?
I do.
I do too.
I,
I absolutely do.
but
I haven't done it.
I think it's like, okay, so I know you remember, like the last few months we've been struggling with Riley like staying in her room. Like she was a great sleeper in her room. And then I don't know if it was the combination of her going back to school, I mean her going to school because she never been before, and her getting a big girl bed. So now she
Mm-hmm.
has more accessibility to get in and out.
Mm-hmm.
She every night, 2 in the morning, like I hear my door popping open. I hear her door open, and then I hear her door open. And it was okay a little bit because my husband worked nights.
Mm-hmm.
But when he would be home, I didn't want that interrupt in my sleep. And no, actually, it was worse when he worked during the week. It's worse when he was working because when he's working, I have to then she comes in at 2 in the morning. He gets off. He usually is home by 6. Now I got to get her out of my bed by the time he gets home because I know he wants to like turn on the light, get himself settled
Mm-hmm.
in the room, but I need her to stay asleep. So I'm literally like sleep tired, and it's like 4:55, no 5:55, and I'm like, oh, reach out to walk in the door. So I'm like getting up, putting her in her room. Now she's crying a little bit because when her sleep has been interrupted. And on the weekends it would be better because he would be home and we could just like she crawled in the bed and we just stay asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had one day locked the door. Like I was like, I'm just gonna lock the door. And I had locked the door and she was like, then she's so smart, she went to our bathroom door. And like, cause you can get into the like
Oh
hall the
yeah.
bathroom. So she went to the bathroom door and now that one was locked too. And she just was like staring. She was like it was like literally 5-10 minutes of her screaming and me talking to her. I'm like, Riley, it's okay. Go lay down. Mom has to get some rest tonight. Like you have to go lay down. And she was
Mm-hmm.
hysterical. So now I finally went out there, put her in her room. She was like, I'll stay in my bed. I promise I'll stay in bed. Just go lock the door. And to be honest, that was the only time I did it. And then she was right back in our room because it was like, it was very traumatic. And I had told Rich I did it. And he was like, oh, okay. Then, like, maybe a couple weeks later, he did it. And I didn't even know. We were like laying in the room and like, I heard her door open. I was like, here she comes. He was like,
Mm-hmm.
he ain't saying it. Like, and it was locked, and she was nowhere near hysterical as when I did it by myself because I guess she knew her dad was in the room too.
Okay.
And it was the first time it was like shocked that it
Right.
happened.
It was
But
totally.
to be honest, listen, every night we lock our door every night because yeah, like until she stopped doing it, I have to go to bed. Like it was just too much, and like I just gotta pray. I can't be worried about like, oh, somebody come in, it's a fire. Like I gotta get that to God. I can't stress myself out about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what I can do. Is we have locks on our door for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm it, but it reminds me of the mom who like drove away. It's just one of them things where it's like from the outside looking in, like the comments on that video was crazy. Like, oh, that's trauma. The kid's gonna have abandonment issue, like, or the kid's gonna feel like they can do whatever they want because you never taught them a lesson.
Exactly.
Like, at what point do we choose? Do they have a little bit of abandonment issue? Because in life, people are gonna leave you.
Yeah.
That's true. But what's not true is you're gonna get whatever you want. So if I give you whatever you want or keep repeating myself, society isn't going to keep repeating themselves. So
Exactly.
I'm really
Yeah.
teaching you a worse lesson by continuing to repeat myself because I'm going to be the
Mm-hmm.
only one that's going to be willing to do it. Teachers
Mm-hmm.
aren't going to do it. Your employer isn't going to do it. The government definitely isn't going to do it.
Right.
So I mean, yeah. So kudos, mom. Like I would definitely drive off slow. She better catch
Absolutely.
up. And you could tell she was like looking out. You could tell she was being cautious
Absolutely.
with it. She wasn't just like.
Exactly. Right. She didn't leave him. I don't feel like that was that traumatized. If anything, next time when she say get in the car, he gonna get in the car.
He gonna get that car.
You know,
Absolutely.
he gonna get in
Absolutely.
the
I
car.
agree.
Because our
Hmm.
actions do have consequences and they need to learn that it's not every time we say to do something, it's not time for you to disregard or play around. You need to do what I tell you to do, and I shouldn't have to explain why. I go through that with Aubrey too. I'm not about to explain all the time. Just do what I tell you to do. Like what?
Yeah, why? Because I said so.
Exactly, because I said
And
so.
then, and then to be honest, if it's an emergency, you might not have time to say why. If it's
That's
a
the thing.
fire or you about to fall in a ditch, I need you to listen. I can't be explaining, breaking it down to you. You have to listen to what I say because I can't always explain it. If I see somebody coming in here with a, I need you just to get under the table. I
Yeah,
don't need you to be reasoning with me on why you don't want
exactly.
to get under the table.
Yeah.
So,
And that's exactly the logic that I had. I said there may come a time when I can't explain. It's not time to explain. It's time to just be quiet. I
hmm
said, be quiet, just be quiet,
hmm
and let that be it. So yeah, I get it. I say kudos to her too. I would have did the same thing. I haven't done it, but I haven't needed to. But still, I think it was great. Sometimes they need object lessons. So let's move on to the next segment. What's for dinner? That's always on my mind. Like, what's for dinner? What's for dinner? Some of us are planners. I'm trying to get better at being a meal planner. Do you plan out your weekly meals, Whitney?
it's funny. I'm gonna show you what I did. So, a cool like prompt on social media. Mom's on a mom on my feed. Um, and they was talking about like utilizing like Chat GBT a little bit more.
Hmm.
And my thing is I want to like consume more whole foods. That's like my more than just like weight loss. And yes, I want to lose weight, but more than that, I just want to like put things in my body that is fueling my body and not just food.
Hmm.
So what I did this week was I reached out. I utilized ChatGPT and I said, "Hey, I want to eat more whole foods. Create me a 5-day meal plan," and it did. It created
Oh,
me this meal plan.
nice.
Yeah, and I literally was like, put it in PDF format, and I printed it off. And yeah, it was that easy. So today I made meatballs, which isn't really a whole food because it's processed because it's brown or whatever, which is it's fine. Like I'm not like a stickler, but I just want to eat more food that I make. So I
Hmm.
made meatballs and I made gravy that I made from scratch. I did mashed potatoes from scratch and I
Okay,
made broccoli. So that was for dinner tonight. That's what we had. It was really, really good.
that sounds good.
Um, Meatballs is like one of my it's like weird. It's like one of my favorite foods now that I'm older. I used to not like it like that. And I was like, oh, I love meatball.
I've never been a fan of it either. I've always, well, I think growing up, I wasn't a fan of it, and I would never have any homemade. Like it would always be, if I ever had it, it was like came frozen in a bag. And for me, I am one of those people like if it's going to be made, I want it to be made fresh and I want it to be, So I kind of romanticized how I would hope it would taste like a spaghetti and meatballs kind of thing. But I
Mhm,
don't think I ever had it ever, I've seen some
mhm.
recipes, but I've never made it, and I don't think I've ever had it.
And
Um,
some of those boutique grocery stores, they sell them like they pre-roll them and they're not like frozen, but they ground the meat and they pre-roll them for you.
okay.
Some of the like, like we're in Michigan, like so like a Bush's or
Hmm.
it's a place out by you, like it's called the Market. I
Oh,
think
okay.
like those type of places will do like they'll make them for you where you don't have to get different meats and roll them up yourself, but they'll
Okay.
still be fresh.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
Mhm.
What I did try to find some chefs in our community, and maybe not in Michigan, but we were on somebody else's feed. So I was on Chef Crystal K's feed on YouTube, and in one of her videos, she made a lemon and herb chicken.
On Instagram, it did so well on YouTube Shorts. I figured why not make a long form video and show you guys step by step how to make this lemon and herb chicken. Now this
It looks really good. So I'm giving this recipe out. I'm recommending this to all the moms out there. If you're having a struggle on what you're gonna make for dinner, maybe you can try her lemon herb chicken next week if you've already had this week planned. Um, give it a try. She paired hers with mashed potatoes and asparagus, but it can also be paired nice with some green beans or some rice as well. So you all can check out her YouTube page for any other dinner inspiration ideas. Oh,
What you cooked though? What you cooked today?
oh, what did I haven't had dinner today yet.
Oh wow.
I have
Okay.
not. I don't know. I I have something to hold me over.
Are you planning out your meals this week?
Not yet. I'm gonna have to wait till payday. This a struggle week. This is
Okay.
let's get to payday and then we
This is when you eat the food in your freezer.
all right. I think I have some
Yeah.
soup, vegetables, and that's why I'm thinking pastas because I definitely
Hmm.
have pasta. Um, and I do have a vodka sauce in the refrigerator I bought from Kroger to try out, and I put it with some tortellini, but it was so spicy. Oh my god, I'm not a spicy person. I can do a little
Yeah.
spice, but this was extremely peppery, and I couldn't understand why. I said, "What did I do something wrong? Did they mess up the recipe?" It was shocking. It on the label it did not say spicy, but for some reason it was really burning my mouth.
And ChatGPT is another good thing is you can go in and put what you have in your pantry
And it'll
and in
create
your
something.
refrigerator, and they'll tell you what meals to make for that week. So you go in and you say, I have this in my freezer, this in my refrigerator, this in my cabinet. Can you create me a 5-day meal plan?
You have to put everything.
I mean, the more you put, the more they're gonna.
The
I
more
mean, if you
options.
don't put it, not even the more option, but the more specific they can go. Because if you
Okay.
don't put, you have rice, they're not gonna give you something with rice. Because especially, if you or they're gonna give you something with rice and then you don't have it. Now you feel like I gotta find rice. Like no, just put what you have, so they can
Okay.
give you, or at least a solid 10, 20 items, so then they can give you some variety.
Okay. I have to look and see.
Hmm.
I have stuff
Yeah.
in my cabinets now. Some of my canned goods Aubrey took to a canned good drive, so we kind of starting over. And we don't even eat. The amazing thing, the funny thing is that we get or I'll buy canned goods. I think I had a 4 pack of corn. I don't even use canned corn. I must have bought it for like a specific recipe. But
Hmm.
so when she was like, "Oh, we're doing a canned good drive. Can I tell you? You could take all," and she took all of them. So we
Okay.
have the alphabet soup because that's something my mother sent to the house. And Aubrey loves Campbell's alphabet soup. Like that's her fave, surprisingly. All right. So, let's move on to our next segment. Girl, clean your house.
Listen.
I feel like house cleaning is it never ends. It never ends at all. But last weekend, I tried using baking soda in my cleaning again in the kitchen on the stove. And I've used it before, but apparently I was using it wrong. So,
What kind of stove do you have? Do you have the glass top
electric,
one?
I have a gas.
Oh, okay.
Hmm
I
I
feel
love the
like they're
gas
easier to
stoves.
clean. Yeah.
I love it. I feel like it cooks better, faster. I don't know. The pots heat up faster to me. But yeah. So
Yeah, I have a electric.
the glass top.
Yeah, the glass top. Yep. And I keep seeing videos on how they're cleaning them, but I just never take the time to actually do it because like I got like the stuff now. And my stove is like less than a year. It's maybe 2 years old now.
Okay.
Um, but it's a new stove, but it gets that grime on it. One time I had like made some baked beans and I don't know, the genius in me thought, oh, let me put this glass Purex dish on the stove and it like bust, like literally broke everywhere.
Really?
And Boston baked beans that serve like
Yeah.
stuck to
Oh
like
man.
it was a horrible cleanup. Yep. So I still I got all that up, but like just stuff like that, just after a while, just start. One time I had like turned it on one eye on, and I had my daughter juices on there, and I turned the wrong eye on. And it was like the plastic was melting. I was like, the smell. I hurry up, turned it off before those bust. So
Okay.
yeah.
That's
Mhm.
crazy. How did you get that off? Or did you get it off? The
I
part.
just scraped it.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm gonna have to try like baking soda. I know a lot of people do like the scrub daddy solution, whatever, like
Mhm.
the that I use the sponges, but I don't I never bought the solution.
Okay.
That's something I have to be more intentional. Like right now, I just be so busy. I don't like part of my house that gets clean is like dirty areas. Like, and when
Mhm.
I say dirty areas, it's like the kitchen that gets dirty. I keep it clean. The bathroom, I keep it clean. But like, I need to do more like organizing and
Mm.
in-depth cleaning, like cleaning the baseboards. I cleaned the baseboards in my hallway not too long ago, and I was like, I need to just put this on my calendar once every other week or once a month so I can just get
Yeah.
this done. Because I couldn't tell you to be 100% honest when I ever did that. Like I want to say I maybe never. I have done it. I have. I'm not gonna say I've never done it. We've been living here since 2019, so that's about 5 years. I have done it maybe twice, but not
Yeah. I haven't either. I mean, I feel like the baseboards, you have Riley running around, so you might have a spot here or there, but I feel like you could take a Swiffer and run it across a dry.
It's Hunter. You know, we got Hunter too,
Oh,
the
that's,
dog, and then the fur. So I do the Swiffer, but you know what I bought? I bought on Amazon. It's like a scrub head and it spins.
oh
It's
yeah, I've
like
seen that.
I use it for my bathtub and
Hmm.
like I'll change the brush and I'll do my baseboard with that. Like I'll go through it and scrub it. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Mhm.
That's real cool. Yeah, I'm trying to keep my stove. So my stove is, I've been here for 3 years and I got a new stove almost after, like immediately after moving in. And so I'm trying to keep it, without any of the burnt stuff on there, and it around the eyes can be a little difficult to keep the grease and stuff from caking
But
on
you know, you can buy those metal things too. Like those can be replaced.
where the flame
Those drip
comes out.
the drip don't so wait,
Oh
I
no, I don't
might
have any
be
drip pans.
okay.
I
Okay,
should
I'm
get
mixing
one.
up electronic
Yeah, yeah. I
electric
probably should
stuff.
get one of those though. Get a nice but I feel like unless it's sitting tight around it, it still
It's
needs to
gonna
be
get
down it. Yeah. So anyway, what I did was I went and I wiped the stove. My washcloth or dishcloth was hot and soapy. So I got up all the little food particles that had dropped down and wiped it. And I did a little rub on some of the stains. And then while that was on there, I sprinkled the baking soda on the burnt spots around the eye, and then I let it sit for maybe 2 to 5 minutes, and came back with a little scrubbing cloth, my scrubbing pad. So I have from Meyer. I buy a 3 pack of sponges that has a mesh covering around it,
hmm
and I use that so it's like non-scratch. Um,
hmm
so I use that, and I started scrubbing around it, and that old grease came up. When I tell you that has never happened before, but I really attribute that the key is you have to let it sit a few minutes because I feel like that baking soda kind of eats and softens that grease up. Because I have before previously I would sprinkle it and I would immediately start scrubbing and nothing would happen. I was like, this junk don't work. I don't know I don't know what people are talking about. And I tried it on my I have some ceramic pots or cast iron ceramic coated pots, like those Dutch
hmm
oven pots. The bottom of that, I tried it there too, and that stuff was coming up. So I think that's a great cleaning tip, while you're up for all the moms out there that we get in our kitchen and we want our stuff to be clean. So y'all give that a try.
So I'm definitely gonna try it on this glass top when I got over here because it definitely doesn't look new anymore. I need
Now the
to put it in
area
my
I
air
want to
fryer
get
too.
looking new again, the front of the glass, the front of the stove, where the oven, that part.
That door.
Yeah, I want that to be, it seems like it has a permanent drip line that's just ingrained in the glass. I don't know. I'm not going to say it's ingrained in the glass, but no matter how much I wipe, you can
It
still
might
see.
be it might have a screw where you could take it off and do the inside. It might have sinked
Okay.
in somewhere because I think it's
Yeah,
like
double
double
thing.
glass.
Yeah. Maybe so. I'm
Hmm
gonna have to look and see. I'll have to look and see. So if y'all want some more cleaning tips, y'all can check out.
Or give us some cleaning tips.
Yeah, give us some cleaning tips. Put them down in the comments. And also jump on Operation Nikki's feed.
Yes, I clean up even on vacation. People have mixed feelings about this, and I get it. But one thing I'm gonna do is have peace of mind so I can enjoy my vacation to the fullest. And that means protecting me and my family from germs and sickness. So I gotta pack my cleaning supplies and my bead luxury disposable bedding. I will not lay down in questionable sheets. And if I didn't wash it myself, there are questions for me. These sheets are so soft you wouldn't even know they were disposable. They even have toilet seat covers and disposable face and body towels. So once that's done, I can fully enjoy the rest of my trip.
She's a mom.
Yes.
Jump on her feed. Operation Nikki is on Instagram. She's also on TikTok. No, she's still Operation Nikki on TikTok also. But she clean everything. She organizes everything. She is like goals. I wish I could just put everything, take everything out of this package and all that other kind of stuff. I just don't. I feel like I need more room or space in my kitchen. One day I will organize it more. But yeah, check her out for some cleaning tips and leave us some cleaning tips down below so we can try it out and we'll let you know how it works out for us. All right, let's get to the main topic. How to co-parent with the other parent. So I am divorced. Whitney, you're married, so you're still in the sense co-parenting because your husband is there. And then Aubrey's dad is very active in her life, so I'm co-parenting with him. So let's discuss some of the challenges. What do you think some of the challenges of parenting with another person is?
The same challenges of ordering food with another person or going to the mall with another person or doing anything with someone else. You guys are two different people. It's just that. It's anything you do with someone else, like they have their views, you have yours, personality clashes. It's just that. It's like you guys are not the same person. That it's gonna be a challenge. Like no matter what you do, it's gonna be a challenge when it's two people from two different walks of life. Even if me and my husband are from very similar, like on paper, we will look like we should have like very similar parenting styles.
Mm-hmm.
We both came from two family homes. Both our parents were in my mom is heavily in the church. His parents are heavily in the church. We like, our moms didn't work, our dads worked. Like we have very similar dynamics when we talk about like how we grew up. But even in that, like we still have like he's very, like stern and well, he says he's stern, but he got a little girl stuff.
Right.
I'm probably a little bit more stern, but like he's more like, she should have done this or she shouldn't do this. And I'm more like, well, why did she do that? Or like I'm definitely more but I'm a mom. And then that's the other thing. Woman and man. So women, we're like emotional. We're discoverers. We want to figure it out. We want to like tweak it and turn it around and look on the opposite side. We want to see all the facets and turns and the creases of this little individual. And the man is like, I don't care. I said this. They should do this. So it is very difficult. It's very difficult. And I even look at like my mom group that I'm in. I talked about that before in the podcast. I was in a mom group. Me and other moms all over the world. We all had our babies July 2021. And that is the group on Facebook. Everyone like July 2021 babies. And I remember that first year, the marriages was dropping like flies. Like, oh, I'm leaving him. I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
Girl, kids will do it every time.
Yeah, and and that is a conversation too, because I wonder, like, I think about like my struggles, like even like co-parenting and being in my marriage like the first 2 years. And I just like, man, I'm so glad that I like seed it through because now I'm in a whole different space. But I would have like called it quits because like, And most of it is we feel like our spouses aren't doing enough, or we feel like their dads aren't doing enough. And the thing is that we have two different processes on what it looks like to do something. So
Yeah.
we thinking it's not enough, and they like, I'm doing it. I'm doing more than enough in their eyes, but it's not. The conversation isn't connecting. And even when you have everybody always say, "Oh, communication, communication." Care how much you communicate. If one person is speaking Spanish and the other person is
Right.
speaking Japanese, it doesn't matter how much you guys are talking.
Right.
No one is going to understand each other because you guys have two different dialects,
Mm.
and that's just it. It's hard. It's hard.
It is hard. I
Mhm.
totally agree. And I think that for us, like you said, we were both raised different. We see things differently. And sometimes seeing, when I watch and have a conversation with Aubrey, I'm like, eesh, like you're a little harsh. You're a little rough. Like give her a break. But then sometimes I'm just like, okay, maybe she needs it. So I'm trying to step back and say, and just let it happen and let her have her relationship with him. With me doing that, it does save me a little bit of heartache, but sometimes I'll step in after the fact or when she's not around and say something, and that will cause an issue because I'm like, well, it is what it is. Like that, how we're going back to the beginning of the conversation. Like she not gonna be a people pleaser. She ain't doing this for no man. She not, she ain't gonna be taking care of you. You supposed to be taking care of her. Like those issues come up, but that's my issue. I guess with him, it doesn't have to be her issue, and she will get there. If she gets there, but just having two different parenting styles, or we grew up differently, and so he knows what he doesn't want to do with her. I know how I don't want to be with her. I get labeled a lot of being doing gentle parenting, and that's not. I never started out with the goal of practicing gentle parenting. That's not something I was like, oh, I'm just going to do gentle parenting. Not at all. That's not it. But I do want to have open conversation. I want her to be comfortable to talk to me. I want her to, yeah, just feel comfortable to express herself to me. And finding that balance can be difficult because then now that she's comfortable expressing herself, well, now she feel like she's supposed to talk to me like like I'm the homie. It's like, and I'm not. I'm
Hey,
like,
mom, I want to kick it with you for a minute.
I'm like, girl, I'm your mother. Who are you talking to? I find myself saying,
You know that shirt that be like, "My da bro, not
right,
you, bro."
right. I'm like, what? Huh? Oh, yeah, no. So that now it's like, okay, now I have to switch it up again and say, well, no, you don't talk to me like that. You need to put that in question form. But and her dad is like, well, she don't do me like that. That's because you too gentle. You want to do this. And I'm like, no, I'm not trying to do gentle parenting. But so obstacles
I
that
remember. I about to say, I remember growing up. My mom, my 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 mom used to say like she would have to say like, "I'm gonna tell your dad," like for us to listen. Like, "I'm gonna tell your dad," or "I'm gonna call your dad," and she's like, "Hold on." She said one day it clicked like, "No, they should respect you."
exactly,
Like, always gotta call the daddy for them to do something. She was
exactly.
like, that was her moment. Like, no, I'm gonna handle this on my own. Mm.
I find myself doing the same thing, honestly. I'll be like, and I'm gonna tell your daddy. No, no. And I'm like, I'm offended. Like, so that's what it takes for you to straighten up. I be like, girl, mm-mm,
Yeah.
mm-mm. So, but sometimes we do come to a good compromise with the other parents. Um, I know we have a lot of conversations, her dad and I do, and we'll try to come to a good compromise. But what can be some obstacles to compromising sooner, I feel like sometimes, is bringing other people in on what's happening can be an obstacle, or if you have brought them in the past. So I know personally with her dad, our story and how we ended up being divorced, that has been told to my friends and my family and stuff like that. So now if I bring something up and I'm like, oh, well, he doesn't, he doesn't agree with this or that or whatever, my family is more likely to be like, well, you right anyway, like I'm right anyway, just because of that history. So I think
Mhm.
that can be an obstacle to finding some compromise sooner, um, um, or finding it later rather than sooner, because they have their feelings because of our past, our history, and how we get to where we are. What do you think can prevent y'all from coming to a compromise?
I think the main thing not is not recognizing that the person that their other parent is on their side. Like I think we assume like even when they're talking harsh or they're saying something like out of pocket, we're like, oh no, like we feel like we need to come to defense, but we're not recognizing that they love her too. They love him
Mm-hmm.
too. It's times where like I go out of pocket with her. And does that mean I love her less? No, it just means that I'm human and I go out of pocket and I say stuff I shouldn't say or I do too much. And if I can do it, why can't I give him grace to be able to do it as well?
Yeah.
I think and then I know, like, as moms, a lot of stuff just comes second nature to us. Like, when we push this baby out and it naturally happened, even if it didn't naturally happen,
Mm-hmm.
your body held that baby and all this stuff happened. Some aspect of your child experience was natural. If it's conceiving or if it was holding the baby or if it was how you had the baby, some aspect was natural.
Mm-hmm.
And nursing the baby, whatever, and that was just because you are a woman. And I think when it comes to our spouses or our children's father, we don't give them the grace of learning
Mm-hmm.
as we have to learn. Like we never had that baby.
Right.
I remember asking my husband, like, have you ever changed? My husband worked in healthcare. He was like, I thought, have you ever changed a diaper? And he was like, kids. And I was like, a baby. And he was like, I don't think so. And like, I have had nieces and nephews and
Yeah.
little kids that I have been responsible for where I've changed multiple diapers. But there was aspects where I had never nursed a baby before. Like I never nursed a baby before. And I
Mm-hmm.
needed grace in learning how to nurse the baby. So we have to give the other parent grace in whatever area they need grace in and realize that it's a team. And
Yeah.
sometimes even in being a team, if your teammate is not doing what they need to do, what do you do as a team? You pick up the slack just for
Right.
that moment. Like, okay, let me hold you up because if
Right.
you fail, I fail. And that's at the end of the day true. Like if y'all fell on that child, if you failed, if that child being raised failed, it doesn't just affect him. Like you not hurting him, you're hurting the child and yourself because the whole family unit failed.
Yep.
So that's the thing. It's a team. We got to give each other grace. We got to pick up slack, and it don't always look like, we live in a society where everything's supposed to look good, feel good, and seem good, and that's just not true. We know
Right.
it's not. Everything that's childbirth was hard. Well, all of that was hard.
Mm-hmm.
Raising a child is hard, and raising a child with someone else is hard too. But
Mm-hmm.
we want to pick and choose our hard. Like, well, I don't want this hard. I ain't dealing with you. Like,
Right.
you ain't gonna tell the baby that. That
Right.
baby gonna get you HELL, and you gonna deal with it because that's your child and you love them. But
Mm-hmm.
when it's time to deal with that parent, we don't want to give that same grace.
Yeah. I think
So
that's a great point. I think that's a great point to do that. It's hard sometimes because sometimes you still in your feelings about how they treated you. And
I know.
it's different from like our relationship. Her dad and my relationship is different from her relationship with her father. And so I don't want to. One thing I don't do, like you hear a lot of people saying, don't badmouth the other parent to the child. I don't do that. I've never done that. Um, and that's probably because I do, regardless as to how things went down and how he made me feel, I still have that level of respect for him, and I don't want her to see him in a negative. And she loves him, so why would I do that? Because that's gonna hurt her. But it is sometimes difficult to separate the past situations and past hurts from the current situation, whatever's going on with her. So I know we have things that we're going to have to do together, like parent teacher conference is coming up. How are we going to handle these conflicts at school or these teachers at school? How do we handle doctor's appointments and what information she's given and what information she's not? We both have different viewpoints, but like you said, I think that if we both give them that leeway or the grace, I want the same thing, give me some grace and some leeway because I'm not perfect. I know I'm not perfect. And we're both going through this for the first time together, you know. This is our first time having a 10-year-old, you know. So, and this is her first time being 10. So we're all kind of learning this, going through it for the first time together, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think we did touch on some of what can help with co-parenting. Something else I think that can help, like I said, is um, I think it would be good to have a conversation about what is your parenting style? Like, what is your goal
Before you have a baby,
before having a baby? Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
the key.
Yeah.
Yes, that is the key.
Mhm.
I think it's just the conversations that we have. There should be different conversations
Mhm.
during the courting and process.
Absolutely.
We talked about having children, but we never went into the details. Like we talked about
Yeah.
like, do you spay? That was like our conversation. Like you would, yeah, I would, yeah, we both would. Um,
Like, it's gonna be some whooping going on. So
we
spanking.
would. It was that was like the premise, more the basic of our conversation was like spanking, and then that was really it. To be honest, now that I like think about it, we never talked about like, do you want the baby to sleep in the bed? Who will be like the primary parent? Do you plan on changing diapers or anything? Like we never had that conversation. And then when we had it, it was just like, here's the baby.
Yeah.
And we had to kind of figure it out. But you really don't know. I would have never thought I needed to ask someone like
Mhm.
how many diapers do you plan on changing? Or even like something that's like a big deal, like in like so Rich like changes diapers, he does all of that. But like I primarily give her a bath, and I get it from he's like, she's a girl, like I want you to like take care of that. And like I get it, but I never thought like that should have been, what if I didn't get it? What if I was a woman that wasn't okay with that? Like, you're her dad, I don't care. And he will if he had to, like he has, but I do like primary bath is me.
Yeah.
So that's just not a conversation I would even thought about because
Yeah.
I never been a mom before. So it's just things that you don't even think about. So I would say maybe if you're single and you don't have children, you just happen to stumble upon this podcast, I would say talk to a friend that has a child, especially a young child, and say,
Mhm.
hey, what are some things that you wish you would have discovered before you would have had your baby with, the baby that you
Yeah.
wish you would have talked to your child's father about?
Yeah. And that would be a good conversation to have if you're currently pregnant, and the baby not here yet. Have some
Well,
conversations now. I mean, you're gonna have to do it with them, but you can still kind of lay some framework before the baby is here so both of y'all can kind of know what to expect or have some kind of agreement. I wish we would have done the same. At the time I knew he wanted a child. I knew that I could be a mom. I knew it was going to be a lot of responsibility. Um, I wanted to do that for him. And so we have her. I didn't know that he didn't know how big of a responsibility it was going to be. But I mean, he's doing his best, and I'm happy for what he's doing. But yeah, I do think having a conversation would be good, um, to help Yeah. I think in having more conversations, I think finding out what the other person's child like was like. What do they want to bring from their childhood into their parenting? What do they want to bring from that, and what don't they want to bring, and why? Because when we talk about spanking, he don't spank her. I don't think he has never spanked her. I have, but he hasn't. But he doesn't have to, because she has a totally different fear of him than she does of me.
And Rich really don't spank Riley either. I
Mhm.
mean, like he might have done it maybe two, maybe three times, but it was very like I'd be like, it's very,
Right.
it was like, but I feel like he's less patient with her than I am though. So like, when he says something, he like, did I tell you? Like, I'm
Yeah.
like, she give her shit,
Right.
she just she processed it. Give her some
Right.
time to process. So it's just different. It's
Yeah.
different. It's. I wish it was like a book or a manual, and it was all in there, and it was just like you check the boxes off, and you had. It's just it's not perfect. It's not going to be. It's just one of them things where you have to recognize that the value that child's dad has on that child's life. I read somewhere, and say if I'm wrong, y'all. I know how social media is. I read somewhere that they said that a bad parent, and I'm not saying like an abusive parent, but a parent that maybe doesn't show up as much as they should, or maybe they made promises they couldn't keep.
Hmm.
But bad parent has a better impact than a absent parent.
Absent parent.
So even like a child who has a parent that maybe didn't show up the way that you would hope that they did, they still have a makes us positive impact on that child's life than if that parent wasn't there at all. And a
Hmm.
lot of times when a parent isn't there at all, that's when they over glamorize that parent. The
Hmm.
one that's not there, they assume, oh, if I remember growing up thinking like, oh, maybe these are my real parents. Maybe I'm a princess and my parents are gonna come get me one day. And that's how when you have a child who parent isn't involved and isn't around, they don't have nothing to compare it to. So they just
Yeah.
go with that parent would have let me. That
Yeah.
parent would have done this. That parent would have done that. So sometimes it's good to show them who that parent is,
Absolutely.
so so that they can have a reality view of the truth of what that dynamic is versus over glamorizing it
Yeah.
and then like being let down at 25 or 30 and meeting this parent and they realize, wow, like this, I see why my mom did what she did,
Yeah.
but they're going to be let down. You
Yeah.
can do it earlier and then they can learn how to process it and adjust to it, or it can happen later in life and then they on somebody's therapy couch. So it's all about like either way it might be on a therapy couch.
Yeah.
But it's up to us to just it's up to us to just make sure that if that man want to be there, let him be there. Like let
Yeah.
him be there. Don't try to. We can't protect our children from everything. It's going to be hurt unless they're abusive. If they're
Right.
abusive, that's a whole different conversation. But
Hmm.
just they don't keep promises. It's going to be people in his life that or her life that won't keep promises. So she might as well learn how to navigate it now because it's just part of the process, unfortunately. And
Hmm.
like my dad, he had definitely some flaws. My dad and mom was in the home together. He had some flaws. But when I tell you, I had listened to a sermon and he was talking about how dads instill confidence in their children.
Hmm.
And I never thought about it. Like my dad is great and I never thought about like how my dad used to be like, don't you like when because I didn't date for a long time. So like they were like, oh, Whitney need a boyfriend or Whitney need to meet somebody. My dad was like, she don't need nobody. Like my dad thinks very highly of me, and I it's almost like I really sometimes feel like I remember Sarah J said it's nothing that she feel like she can't do or at least can't learn, and that's how I kind of feel about myself. Like I can learn anything. Now, can I do anything? Not at this moment, but give me some time. I can
Hmm.
do anything, and I do feel like that's a lot of my dad that he instilled that confidence in me that like. because my mom, I remember when I quit my job to start my business. She was like, "You sure?" Like she never was like, "Go ahead, do." My dad was like, "If he can do it,
Right.
So, and my mom would like my dad, like I said, wasn't that great. So my mom could have been like, "Well, I'm gonna take her out of this situation because he ain't treating me right. He ain't doing this. He ain't doing that." And I didn't get what I needed from him. So I'm glad that she stayed and was able to
Yeah.
get me. I was well rounded with both of my parents.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it was something you were saying, and I'm trying to think what I was gonna say about it, and it's just not coming to me. It's not coming to me. Oh, what I was thinking is that looking at back at how what my mother had to deal with her role growing up in the house and my dad's role growing up. Dad was definitely the provider, and my mother did a lot of the day to day taking us to school because dad was gone. By the time it was time for us to go to school, dad had went to work. And now that I'm the one getting up to go to school, getting Aubrey ready for school and doing all these things, and I just have the one, and she had three of us to get ready, it gives me a lot. I have a lot more understanding. I said, "Oh, she was stressed out." Now I know why she was stressed out. And she had the kids to get ready, and dad had his own stresses from work. He was driving the bus. He had his stress there, and he would come home and he would study with us and all these things. They were both two stressed two stressed parents. But now,
With 3 kids.
all right. So now I give a little more, like you say, grace to how we were raised. I understand a little bit better. That's why they have these journals. Mom, tell me your story. I would love for her to tell me her story, but that's not
I
her.
have one.
You do well. She not gonna do it. My mama not. She.
Well, no. So the way I bought one, I'm just asking my mom the questions and I'm writing them down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I know she won't do it either.
No, I don't
But
think my mother would answer
it'll
the
be a
question.
good conversation starter.
I might get one and I'll try it, but if I know my mother, how I think I know my mother, it's,
What if you don't tell her what you're doing? Would she just like if you just gradually brought it up, like, "Hey, mom, what street did you grow up on, or what, like, do you think she would?"
I mean, I knew what street she grew up on, but I don't
I
think
know,
she
but
would.
I'm just saying, like, if
I don't.
I can't think of the question. No, okay. She gonna be
I
like, "Why you
don't
asking me that?"
know. She just will kind of tune out maybe or not have an answer.
Okay,
It'll just be like maybe I don't know or
okay.
maybe something quick. I will have to look at the questions and see. But
Okay, I'll send you some snippets of my book.
yeah, I'll have to see. So anyway, I think we should wrap it up. I feel like it was
Absolutely.
a great conversation. I thank you, everybody, for joining the Moms on Your Feed podcast. We are going to be on your feed. I hope you all are on. Y'all will be on ours because we're going to be checking it out. So leave some comments, subscribe, share this with your other mom friends, and we hope to see you all next time.
Absolutely. Have a great night.
Oh, speaking of on our feed, y'all can find us. So my personal Instagram is me, Aubrey and Eyeshadow. Y'all can follow us there. Follow the podcast, Moms on Your Feed, on Instagram. And then Whitney, you want to give your social media?
Yeah, so I'm Whitney Tompkins on Instagram and also Facebook. And then my business is Your Family, Your Legacy. That's on Instagram and TikTok.
All right. Thank you.